Welcome back to Learn with Pratap. So in this tutorial, we'll learn how to create a tic-tac-toe application using Flutter. So here we have this beautiful application where we can have this particular grid. So when we start the application, so when I start this, then we'll have a timer of 30 seconds. Then I need to complete within these 30 seconds. And when we find the winner, we're updating the score for the particular winner. So let's start again. So this time I hope the X user will win. Okay, so we have a scoreboard for each of the users. So the application is pretty simple. So we have this particular grid and all the grid items, and we have this beautiful timer. Okay, so let's get started. So to get started, let's create a new application. So to create a new application, we can go from Command Shift and P, and then we can choose this new project, and then here we can either choose from this application or from this empty application. I'd go with empty application because I really don't need the bootstrap application. So let's choose empty application, and here let's choose a folder. So I want to choose this selected folder, and then let's give it a name. So I'll say Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, and then with this, Flutter will create a new project. And also now let's run our simulator, and let's add this simulator in our Visual Studio Code, and let's wait until this is running. Okay, so let's run this application. So we can say run without debugging, and with this our VS Code will go and launch this application in our simulator. So let's wait until this is running. So while the app is running, let's create few folders here. So let's say a new folder called constants, and also let's create another folder called screens. Okay, and now inside the screen, let's create a file called game. Let's say game.dot. Cool. And here let's create a stateful widget, and let's give it a name of game, and let's import all this. Okay, so you may ask me why I make a stateful widget. It's because we want to keep a state of the current player, their progress and all, right? So because of that, we have created this stateful widget. And now let's go to this main.dot, and let's replace this scaffold by using our game. Cool. And also, if you check this app, it's showing me this debug. So I think it's better to remove this. So I can say debug disabled, and I can say it false. And let's save it. Let me stop it and let me run it again. Cool. So since the container in this game is nothing there, so that's why we're getting an empty. For now, let me just add a placeholder. So cool, we're getting a placeholder, right? So let's start by creating a scaffold. So you can use a scaffold, and here let's use an app bar, and here let's use the app bar, and let's give it a title. We'll use a text widget, and let's say Learn with Pratap Tic-Tac-Toe. Cool. Let's save it. So we see this Learn with Pratap Tic-Tac-Toe. And also I want to change the color. So for that, let's go to our constant and let's create a new file. And here we can say colors.dot. Cool. And let me just simply copy and paste one file. Okay. So you can find this particular file from my GitHub repository, which will be posted in the description below. You can always check it out there. And now let's add a background color here. So you can say background color is equal to main color dot, let's use the primary color. Cool. Okay, or maybe we can use the accent color. So this will look much more clean. And let's add a background color for the particular scaffold. We can say background color is equal to main color. And here let's use the primary color. And let's save it. Cool. So now we used a scaffold widget and also added the app bar. We added the background color. Now it's time to add a body. Okay, so to start with, let's have a column. So basically, when we think of this application, we'll have three sections here. So the first top section, it will show us the score of the current players, like player O and the player X. The middle section will be for the grid, and the end section will be using that for the button which will start and end the game. Okay, so let's start by having this expanded. Okay, so in the child, for now let's just give it a text. So we'll say, so this is where the player score will go. Okay, and this expanded, let's give it a flex of 1. Okay, and let me simply copy this and let me add 2 more. And let's give it a flex of 3 here, and let's give it a flex of 2 here, and let's add a, this will be board, and this will be the timer or buttons. So let me save. So now you can see we have this player score, we have this board, and also we have this timer buttons, right? So now let's get started with the board first before we go ahead with the player score or the timer buttons. Okay, so here we'll be using the grid view because we'll be needing a buttons, 9 buttons. So let's use a grid view, and here we need to pass the grid delegate and the item builder. Okay, so for the grid delegate, let's use silver grid delegate with fixed cross axis count. Okay, and then let's give a cross axis count of 3. So this means that when we have a grid, so how many items should we have in each column? So that means when I'm providing a 3. Okay, and now for this item builder, we need to get a context and an index. Okay, let me reformat this, and now here, so let me return the container for now, and inside this container let me add a child which will be basically text. Okay, and then this text will have basically either X or O. For now let me just use it. Okay, and then I need to pass a item count here. So item count will be basically 9 because we'll be having a grid of 9. So let me format it and let me save. So now you can see we have these 9 boxes, basically X, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? So now let's give it a style. So let me close this so that we can see more better. Okay, and now let's give it a style for this particular container, right? So let's give it a decoration, and inside this decoration let's give it a box decoration, and here let's give a color. So for now let's use our secondary color, like I can say main color dot secondary color. Let me format and let me save. Okay, so now we have a grid. Okay, and also let me give it a border, so it will be for the all side. Then I can say border dot all, and here let me give it a width. Let me give it a width of 5, and let me give it a color of primary color, and also let me give it a border radius. Okay, sorry, let me give a border radius. So it will be basically border radius dot circular, and it will be of 15. Good. So you can see we have a very beautiful grid now, right? So now let's make it this text a center. So let's give it a style. So I can wrap this at the center. So now we have at the center. Okay, and also let's give it a style to this particular text. Okay, text style. Let's give it a font size of 64, and then let's give it a color. It will be basically a main color dot primary color, and also let's make it bolder. You can say font weight, and let's give it a font weight dot with 600, and let me format it and let me save. Cool. So now we have a beautiful grid, right? So I think the flex button is a bit off. So here, can I use 1.5? No, I cannot use. I need to use 2 only. Let me use 4 here. Let me save. Okay, so now our grid is much more better now, right? So first of all, let me edit a const here, and also let me edit a const here, and also let me edit a const here. We'll remove it later on. Okay, so now we have a beautiful grid. So let's have a gesture handler for this particular item, right? So initially it should be empty, right? So for that, I think I can go and add a list here. So the list will basically consist of what exactly to display. So I can have a list of string. So let me use XO, and let me see, use this. So basically we'll be needing here nine strings, right? So let me copy this, and let me copy this again. Cool. So with this I have 9 tiles. Okay, so let me copy this display XO, and then now I can pass this here. Item count will be basically 9. So I can simply say display XO that length, and then here in the text I can simply use display XO dot index. So it will still work the same. Okay, so now I need to have a gesture handler for this particular item. So let's go to our container. So let's wrap this container with our gesture handler. So I can wrap with widget, and let me use gesture detector. Okay, and here I need to pass a on tap. Okay, so when we have this on tap, so let's create a function here. Let's create a function, and this will accept an index. So whenever we get this index, what will we do? We will set state. So we'll update this display XO for this particular index with the current user, right? So I think we need to have this current user also here. So let me say boolean, so let me say orton, and this will be initially true. Okay, like before we set the state, so let's check if it is orton, like okay, and then we need to make sure that this particular grid is empty, right? So we can check display xo dot index that is empty, then only we can change this particular to O, right? So I can say display xo dot index is equal to, so it is currently orton, so I need to add a O here. Okay, otherwise, so let me use an else if, and then here also I need to check if it is not orton, and also I need to make sure the display xo at this particular index is empty, then only I can go and say display xo at this particular index. So this time it should be equal to x. Cool. So let me go to this tab, and now instead of this on tab I can pass this underscore tab with the particular index, right? And now once we change the display xo value, we should also change our orton to be the opposite of current orton, right? Cool. So now let's test our application. So if I tap on this, okay, we're getting O. If I open this, I'm getting X. Cool. Amazing, right? So now I think it is the best time to check if the current, let's check the condition if this is a winner. Okay, so for that, so let me create a function that will basically check the winner. So I can say void underscore check winner. Okay, so for this, in order to maintain who is the winner, so let's create a variable. So we'll say, we'll use a string, and for now we'll use a winner is equal to, let's have a empty string. And now inside this check winner, we need to check if the current winner is, so first of all, let's start with the first row, second row, third row, and then we'll start with the first column, second column, and the third column, and then we'll check the diagonal, right? So if the user matches the row, any of the row or any of the column or any of the diagonals, then we can have that particular user as a winner, right? So here let's have a if condition, and then we can say display xo at particular in the 0th index is equal to display xo at the index of 1, and also when you check if the display xo at index of 0 is equal to display xo at the index of 2. Okay, so this means that like if this is O, if this is O, and also if this is O, and also we need to make sure that they are not empty, right? And display xo at particular 0 is not equal to empty, because initially when we don't have anything, so the time also it is equal, so we need to negate that condition. Okay, so in this case we can say winner is equal to the value at this particular index. Cool. So this is for the first row. So let me copy and paste this. This will be for the second row, and also for the third row. Cool. So now for the particular second row, the index should be 3, 3, 3, and then we'll be checking with the index of 4 and 5. And for the third row, we'll be checking with particular index of 6, 6, 6, and then we'll compare it with the value of particular index at 7 and then 8. So let me update this as well. It should be 3, and then this should be 6. Okay. So there may be a better way to optimize this, but since the tutorial is for a simple Tic-Tac-Toe application, let's go ahead with this. So let me copy all this again, and now I need for the column. Okay, so this is for the row, so now I need to have this for the column. So this will be also for the column, so this will be for the column. Okay, now for the column it should be basically 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 6, right? So let's start with the column. So it should be 0, but now this time it should be 3 and it should be 6, so the rest remains the same. And then for the second column it should be basically 1, 1, 1, 1, but this time it will be 4, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then 5, 6, 7, so this time it will be for 7. And for the third column it should be 2, 2, 2, 2, and this time it should be for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will be for 5 and the index of 8. Cool. So we have completed the column. So now we need for the particular diagonals. So it will be for the, so let me use first diagonal, and this will be for the second diagonal. Okay, So let's start with the first diagonal. So the first diagonal will start from 0. It should be like, let me replace all the ones by 0. Okay, so I need to check against the index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? It should be 4 and 8, right? And in the case of second diagonal, it should be 0, 1, 2 for all the second index, and also it should be against the index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it should be for the index of 4, and then it should be for the index of 6. Okay, so with this we have defined our winner. So let's verify once if I have done it correctly. So this was for the first row, so it should be 0th index, 1 index, and the 2 index. Okay, and for the second row, it should be for the 3rd index, 4th index, and the 5th index. And for the 3rd row, it should be the 6th index, 7th index, and the 8th index, right? And then for the first column, it should be the 0th index, the 3rd index, and the 6th index. And for the second column, it should be the 1st index, the 4th index, and the 7th index. And for the third column, it should be the 2nd index, and also 5th and the 8th. And for the first diagonal, it should be 0, it should be 4 and then 8. And for the second diagonal, it should be 2 and then it should be 4 and then 6. Okay, so with this, we have got our winner. Okay, since we have the winner now, so now I need to check winner right here. So let me use our check winner function here. Let me call it here. And now since I have this winner, so I can use this particular text in my third button, right, in this one. So let me update that UI. So here I can have a container or maybe a column first. So let me start with the column. Okay, and then this column will have a children, and then here I can have a text, and then here let me use a string. So I can say player $winner wins. Okay, so before this I need to make sure if the winner is not empty. So I can say winner dot is not empty. Okay, then only I'll be using this, otherwise I'll say empty. So basically this is not null. Not sure why this is saying it's null. So winner is not empty, then I'm saying that player wins, otherwise I'm saying empty, right? So I'm not sure why this is wrong. Okay, so it is because I'm using the const here. So this now it look good. So let me save. So I think now I need a mechanism to clear the board, right? So let me add a button here. So now I'll use the elevated button, and I need to have an on press, and then I need to have a child. So in this child, let me add a text. And for now, so let me have a text of start. And for this on press, so let me have a function. And now inside this on press, I need to have a functionality so that I can clear this particular button, all this state, right? So let's create a function called clear board. Okay, so I think it's better to create just below this. So I can say void clear board, and here I can have the functionality to clear the board, right? And here let me set state, and clearing board is pretty simple. So I can loop through my board. So I can say int I equal to 0, I less than display xo dot length, and I can say I plus plus. And now here I can say display xo at particular index, it should be now empty. Okay, and after this I need to reset my winner. So the winner should be empty. Okay, so I think with this we should be able to clear our board. So let me save. So when I click on start, it should clear the board, right? So at this time, okay, so it's working. So let me say x o x o and x. So you see we have this player x wins, right? And let me start again, and if I say o x o x o, and you see player o wins with the diagonal. Cool. So far our logics are working. So let me style a bit for this particular text. So it looks pretty odd now. So I can use a style here, and inside this style, so let me use a text style. So let me use font size of 20, and then let me give a color of black color. So I think it's by default it's black, right? So it's okay, I can always use colors dot black. Anyway, it's already black. Okay, and also let me style this elevated button. So I can always give it a style. So for this I can use a elevated button dot style from, and now here I can pass the style. So I can say background color, it should be white color. Okay, and also let me add a padding. So it should be edge inset, So let me use a symmetric, and let's have a horizontal of 32 and a vertical of 16. So let me have a const here, and also let me have a const here. Okay, so now our button look pretty straight, right? So now before we go to the player score, so I think it's better to have the timer right now. So when I click on start, the timer should be started, and also when the game is ended, so I should not, like, for now I can always click on this, right? You see, I'm able to do X twice. You see, so let's have that ability. So if the timer is not started yet, I should not be able to click on this board. Okay, so for that I think we can have a timer. So let's create a function called start timer. So I can say void start timer. Okay, so for this start timer we may need few variables. So first of all, let's start with having a timer variable here. So I can say timer. This will be initially null, so I can say timer. So maybe I need to import this timer. Okay, so now I have this timer. So when I think rather than putting this function this downside, so let me move it in the top side. Okay, so now when we call this function start timer, so I think I can start my timer. So I can say timer dot periods, like I need to run the periodic timer, and then let's start, like it should be for every second. So I can say duration. So I want to start it for every seconds, so let me have it here. And now inside this function, so I can set state. So for this I want to have a state for the current seconds. Okay, so I can have a variable here. So let me have a seconds. So let me create a variable seconds. So I can say int seconds is equal to, so let's start with 30. So I want to decrease it one by one. So instead of hard coding here, so I can create a constant. So I can say static const, so let me say max seconds is equal to 30. So what I mean here is, like, our game should only be available for a particular 30 seconds, right? So I can replace this, and now let me have a condition. So if my seconds is greater than 0, then only I should be decreasing my seconds. Okay, else I should stop my timer, right? So now I need to have another function, stop timer. Okay, so in that case I will call this stop timer function. Okay, so in this particular timer I need to reset my timer again. I need to, what I need to do there is I need to cancel my timer. Okay, and also I need to make sure my seconds is again reset to the maximum seconds. So for that, let me create a new function again. So I can say reset timer. So I could have simply added this in here also, but I want to have this reset timer whenever we completed the game, right? So for that purpose, I'm moving out this. So in this case, when I call this reset timer, my seconds should be equal to my maximum seconds. Okay, so let me call the reset timer here. Okay, so with this, we have started our timer, and then for every seconds, we are changing our state. Okay, so we are starting from the 30 seconds and we are gradually decreasing one by one. And when the seconds is equal to 0, and the time we are stopping the timer. And when we stop the timer, we cancel the timer, and also we reset the timer, which we initially set it to maximum seconds again. Okay, so now I think it's time to have the timer here in this elevated button part. So let's go to our elevated button here. So now I think it's better to have this widget outside. Okay, so let me create a function. So this will initially return me a widget. So let me have a check timer. Let me have a function check timer. Okay, so now here I need to check if my timer is running or not, right? So I can say final is running is equal to, I have the timer, and to check if it is null. If it is null, then it is not running. Else I need to check my timer. Since I already checked if the timer is null, so here I can make sure the timer is not null now. So I can say it's active. Okay, I'm getting an error here because it is expecting a widget. Okay, so let me return, and I need to make sure if it is running, that means my timer is active. So in that case, I want to show the timer here. Otherwise, I want to show this elevated button. Okay, if it is running, then I will return the timer. Otherwise, I will return this particular elevated button. So let me copy this. Let me edit here. Okay, so now here I need to have the timer, which will basically the progress indicator, right? So for now, let me use a size box, and then let me give it a height and width height of 100 and also the width of 100. And this also expects a child. So let me have a child. So basically here I will have a circular indicator and also the number of seconds. So let me use a stack, and then this stack will take children. And now here I can have a circular progress indicator. Okay, and then here I need to pass a value. So for the value, it should be always like 1 minus the seconds, and I need to divide it by the maximum seconds. Okay, and also let me add another child, which will be basically a text, and here I can have the seconds, the number of seconds currently. So for that I can use the string and then use a dollar and let me say seconds, and let me format it. And I have this check timer, so I think I need to call this from here, check timer. Okay, and let me save, let me rerun my application, and let me start. Nothing happens, right? Why is that? Because my timer is not started yet. So when I click on this start button, I need to make sure that I clear it first and then I start the timer, or any of the case. So I can start the timer and then I can clear, right? So currently, like when I click on this button, nothing happens because I forgot to call the start timer. So now I have called the timer. So let me start. So you see, we have this particular indicator. It doesn't really look good, right? I think let's style this stack. So where is stack? We have the stack here. So let me have a feet. So when I say stack feet dot expand, so this will be expanded. So let me save. So now you see we have the timer, which is much more bigger. And also let me style the text. So let me add a style. So it will be basically a text style. And here I need to have a font weight, and it will be bold. And let me have a font size of 50, and also let me have a color of white. So I can say colors dot white. Okay, so let me start now. So this looks much more better than the other one. Okay, so let me have a const here, and also let me style circular progress indicator. Okay, so here let me have a value color. So I can say always stopped animation. So let me use a color. Okay, and also let me have a stroke width of 8, and also let me have a background color. So it will be main color dot accent color. Let me save, let me start. So the text looks a bit odd, so let me have this, like, let me repeat it with the center. Cool, so it looks much more better now, right? Now even without starting the timer, I'm able to click on the boxes, right? It shouldn't happen. So for this I need to check if my board is running. So for that I can always check in this underscore tabbed. Okay, so let me copy the condition which I had earlier for the timer. I think I have this in here. So let me copy this and let me go and edit in our tabbed. So here let me have this finder if it is running. So I will only set state if it is running, then only I will perform this action. So let me refresh this. Okay, now without starting the timer, I'm not able to start the application or the game, right? So let me click on start. Okay, when I start, I'm able to change it. So this time nobody wins, right? I also need to check one condition. If all the boxes are filled, still I don't have any winner. So for that I think I need to have one variable. So here it should be int filled boxes. It will be initially 0. Okay, and whenever I click on this tab button and I change this, so I think I need to increment my fill boxes. Okay, and when I check the winner, I also think I should also check if my fill boxes is 9, right? So let me go to my check winner, and here I can say if fill boxes is equal to 9 and winner dot is empty. That means all the boxes are filled and also we don't have any winner. So in that case I can set state. So I can say winner is equal to, I'll say n. That means no one is the winner, and let me stop this timer. Okay, so now I think I need to check this n here. When I think it should be here. So if the winner is not empty, okay, then I need to check if my winner is equal to n, then I'll say nobody wins. Else I can say the current particular player wins, right? So let me save and let me start the game again. XO 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 X. Okay, X user wins. Okay, so let me give it a style for this player O wins and all. So I think this should be here. Okay, it should be in this particular text, right? So let me give it a style. It should be text style. So let me give it a color. It should be color, sorry, it should be color dot white, and it will have a letter spacing of 2, and then it will be of font size of 28, and it will be font weight will be a bit bolder, so I can say font weight dot weight 900. Okay, let me save. So we have this bigger, right? So I think between this player O wins, I can have a sized box. Let's give it a height of 8. Cool. So this look much more cleaner. So I think I will be using this style more often when I have this player O score. So let me copy this and let me have it here. Let me move it to the top. So here I can say static var font white, and let me repeat here. Okay, so now I can use this font white here, and it's still the same. Cool. So let me add constant everywhere. Okay, so now I think it's time to have the player score. So when I start the game, let's say O X O X O X O X O X. So this time the player X wins, right? Also, when we get the winner, let's make sure we update the winner, and let's also make sure we stop the timer, right? So for that, let me create a function. So I'll say void update winner. Okay, so now inside this update winner, we'll make sure we stop the timer. Okay, first of thing, and also we'll check if our winner is, since we have already the winner, we can check if the winner is O, then we'll update the score of the winner. Else if the winner is X, then we'll update the score for this particular X. Okay, so in that case, what I need to do is I need to create two variables here. So I can say int O score X score is equal to 0. Not sure why it doesn't work. Okay, so let me create two variables to 0, O score and X score, right? So we are starting initially with 0. So now let's update our winner. So in this case, if the winner is O, then I will say O score plus plus, and if the winner is X, then I will say X score plus plus. Okay, I have not used this update winner yet, so I need to use this update winner wherever I'm checking the winner. Okay, so let me start with this. So I'll say update winner, 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 update winner. Okay, and we have this field boxes, and we have this winner dot is empty. And then we are setting this to an end, right? So let me save this. So now since we have this update winner, we have the score. So I think it's time to work on this our player score, right? So let's start by having a row. Okay, and then each row will have a children, like let's have a children, and each row will have a column. Okay, and then the column will have children, and we'll start by text. So the text will be first for the player O. So this is the label, and now we'll have this score. So let me have this. This will be the score. So I can simply say O score dot toString. I need to remove this const. Okay, so since I have added this style font white, so I can use it everywhere now. So if I say style, so if I say font white, so let me use the same here, style font white. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let me save. So now we have this for particular score, and let me have the column here. So let me say main axis alignment, so it should be center. Okay, and also for the row, main axis alignment, so let me edit center. Okay, so now inside this row I need to have a couple of columns, right? So let me copy this, and inside this let me have this, and let me save. So now we have this player O, right? So let me update this. It should be X, and this should be X score dot toString. And now between these two columns, I think it's better to have a sized box, because these two looks connected. So I'll say sized box, and let me give it a width of 20. Cool. So now they are a bit differentiated. So I think I can give it 32. Cool. So this is for the particular O score. This is for the X score, right? So let me start. O X O X O X O. So we have the score for the player 1 is 1, right? So let me start again. X O X O X O X O. So now we have the player winner, right? So let me wrap this with the const. Now I want to make sure, like, whenever there is a winner, I want to differentiate the boxes. So like this is the index which the user have. X has won. So I want to change the color of those particular grid items, right? So for that, I think I need to create one more variable. So let me create a new variable. So it will be list and it will be of integers. And here I'll say matched indexes. So now this matched indexes would be basically like, for now it is matching this particular index, right? 0 1 2, it will be 7, and it is, I think, okay, all these indexes are matching, right? So let me update this. So let me go to our check winner. Then here I can say matched indexes dot add all, and here I can add 0 1 2, right? So let me have this for all this. So I can say here 3 4 5. So let me make this empty first. Let me copy all this. Okay, so this is particularly 6 7 8. Let me have it here again. So this is 0 3 6, and let me have it here again. So this is 1 4 7. Also this is 2 5 8. Also this is 0 4 and 8. And for the last one, so this is 2 4 and 6. Okay, so basically we have our matched indexes. So now inside our grid, so let's go to our grid. So here in this decoration, in the container decoration, we will check if our matched indexes that contains, if that contains the particular index, then we will say main color dot. So in that case I will be using the accent color, otherwise it will be the same color, right? Okay, so this is the variable which I've added recently. So let me restart my application. So let me say O. Okay, and start the timer first. O X O X O X O. So now we have this, right? So let me start again. So when I start the game again, it doesn't change my matched index, right? So that means when I click on this clear board, so let me go to my clear board function. Let me go to my clear board. Okay, so now I also need to update my matched indexes. This time it will be empty again, right? So let me start again. O X O. It says nobody wins. So let me start again. Player X wins. So let me start again. So in this case, like, you should have said nobody wins, right? So let's check the condition for the nobody wins. So here I think I need to check the field boxes, and so this time it should be N. It is N. Winner, winner, winner. So let me add a variable instead of checking that the value. So let's say here, let's say bool winner found, and let's have it a false initially. And now when we check on the winner here, so I think instead of having this winner is empty, I can check winner found, right? I'd say winner found. Okay, and when we update the winner, let's have it here, winner found is equal to true. And when we clear the boxes, so it is also good time to set the winner found to be a false. And also I think I forgot to update my field boxes to be 0. Okay, so let's start. Let me refresh my application. Let's start. O X O X O X O. Player O wins, right? Let me start again. Nobody wins. Cool. So I think this is it from this tutorial. I hope you are able to follow along with me. So we created a very beautiful application here. So it consists of a tic-tac-toe application using Flutter, and you can always find the link to this source code in the description below. And if you have any question, or if you want to have any, like if you want to request for any type of tutorials, then always comment it in the comment section below so that I can always work on it. So this is it from this tutorial.